Greetings and welcome to the Gateways to Glendale College. I'm your host, Deb Kinley, and today we're on the GCC campus in the all-new Learning Center. Our special guest today is Sean Chahoan, who is our faculty coordinator. Welcome, Sean.
Thank you.
So glad to have you here today.
Glad to be here. Thanks for having me.
Well, let's start with a little history about yourself. Tell us how long you've been at GCC and how you got interested in the Learning Center.
Well, thank you. I started here as a full-time faculty member in the English division in 2006. In the first 3 years, I was busy teaching a full load of classes and admiring the work that was being done here, first by Dennis Doyle and then by Denise Zell. And I really thought, wow, they're doing a great job there. And when Denise said that she had decided to move on, this was an opportunity for me to do something outside of the classroom. And it was really exciting because I was able to take all of my passion for teaching and pass it on to tutors who do a lot of the work here for us, as you know. So it was a good opportunity for me to take on something outside the classroom for the first time in my career, and I was excited about it.
Sure, it sounds exciting. 2006 is a cool 10 years ago.
Yes, so 7 years here.
So can you explain why we were in need of an upgrade or remodel here in the Learning Center?
Well, that's a good question. The Learning Center started in 1971. Much of the decor and the materials used in the space, including much of the furniture, had been original to that time. I still have some of the original headphones that we used. They're multicolored.
Original headphones.
They're these really large headphones. Now they're back, you know, they went from really small to back. But these were really older model stuff. And, you know, with the changes in technology, as well as, you know, the aesthetics that exist in the space and creating a welcoming environment. You know, the walls in here used to be a really sort of an ugly mauve, and it wasn't very welcoming. And we had shades on the windows. It was kind of a darker space when students came in. And with the remodel and the adequate lighting, our lighting engineer was saying that the light wasn't really adequate, especially at night when students would come in to study. So now we have the lighter walls, the bigger, brighter windows, and it's a much more welcoming space. Yes,
it really is.
I used to tell Dr. Vayar when he asked me about the space, and early on we were invited at some point with all the secondary effects on campus to maybe move the Learning Center to another location. And I said I really wanted to stay in this space because once it was remodeled, I think the really high ceilings and the big windows, they're an architectural manifestation of intellectual possibility.
Okay, very
right?
good.
That's
very
like
good.
This big space. You walk in and you're like, wow, there's a lot is possible here. It's sort of like the physical embodiment of what's possible intellectually.
What a metaphor. I love it. The sky's the limit, you know? Yeah. I like bright and airy spaces, and this certainly is. It's just much brighter and more beautiful than it was, you know, before the remodel. So tell me, how has your classroom instructor experience influenced the tutoring in the Learning Center?
Well, a lot of the work I do as an instructor is facilitate learning. I don't lecture, and I tell my tutors not to lecture. It's really about engaging students in an ongoing conversation and allowing them to really blossom and have conversations where they're a part of the learning process as opposed to empty vessels that you're filling with information. So everything that I did as a classroom instructor has been very useful here in the Learning Center. I work with my tutors one-on-one and give them the tools they need to work collaboratively with students, really putting the student at the center of the tutoring experience. We often talk in education about student-centered learning.
Yes, we do.
But I think that sometimes it's easier to lecture. It takes a lot of time to say, this is how I want to plan my lesson. These are the goals I really want to achieve, and this is how best to achieve them with a collaborative, engaging lesson that gets students really involved. So my experience as a classroom instructor helped me form the kinds of lessons and approaches that I'm now able to pass on to my tutors and allow them to use in their tutoring sessions, which is exciting.
Sure, because no one just wants to hear a talking head, pretty much. So tell us about your guiding principles in the remodel. What were your goals and objectives?
The primary goals we had were flexibility and adaptability. So we didn't want to make any changes that were so permanent and fixed and based on what we're doing now. I have to remodel for what the Learning Center is going to be 10 years from now. Not only what it is now. So at every stage and for every decision we made, and it's kind of like remodeling a house or any kind of other remodeling project you think, oh, I'll just do 1, 2, 3, or 10 things, and then it gradually sort of blossoms and takes on a life of its own, and eventually you're picking out like what kind of nails are going to go in this part of it, and then what kind of this and that, and it really becomes a much bigger project. So everything from the furniture that we chose in the Active Learning Lab, which is the space we're sitting in now.
Active Learning Lab, okay.
We call it the All.
All right.
Because basically you could do all of what you want in here. We have a interactive whiteboard that has a lot of very technological features. If you don't want to use it, it's still a very durable whiteboard that could be used traditionally. We have roving whiteboards that could be used, and they have whiteboards on both sides. You could use them at tables around the room. These tables could be configured in groups of 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8, 10, or 30.
Flexibility is the key. Yeah.
Flexibility, right? So if you want to come in here and have a performance with your students and have someone read Shakespeare, they could do that in the middle of the room, and you could put all the chairs in a circle. If you'd rather have small group exercises, we could arrange the tables so that students are working in smaller groups, any size you want. The space out there, we have tables that could also move around, chairs that are very flexible. We have soft seating. Students could use their laptops on it or not. There's a lot of different ways that the space could be used. We also have a bar, study carols. So basically something for everyone, and when we need to move it around, we can.
That's wonderful. That's the wave of the future, not just stationary desks and a stationary teacher just lecturing. So that sounds awesome to me, and it looks pretty awesome too. Tell us about the cost and how the remodel was funded.
We received all of our funding from Title V, a very generous grant.
Title V, okay.
And we worked closely with Kathy Durham on this campus, and Yiranui and Leticia in the Title V office, and they were all instrumental in having us move forward with this project. They saw a need. They saw the good work that we were doing here as a team, and the valuable contributions we make on a daily basis to the lives of students at GCC, and thankfully they recognized that and gave us the support we needed to have the remodel to serve our students better.
So tell me about the staff here. How many staff people do you have on board besides yourself?
I am the faculty coordinator, so my job is primarily big picture, vision, also pedagogical. So it's programmatic and pedagogical. We also have Andy Stiers, who is the manager of the space and deals with day-to-day issues as they arise. And we have 3 staff members, Savada Avakian, Michael Nua, and Chris Gonzalez, who's a new addition to our team and has done a great job so far.
Yes. I think Chris helped in coordinating your open house, I heard.
She did. She did a great job. She did a great job.
Yes, it was wonderful. So we heard a little bit about the remodel and the chairs and the tables moving around, but how else has the remodel served the student learning?
We now have a greater flexibility in terms of how students could use the space. The offices that we created on one side of the larger tutoring space, it allows all the staff members to be able to see what's going on in the space as opposed to being in these cloistered offices in other parts of the room. There's a lot more interaction. So that, making the staff much more actively involved in the day-to-day operations of the Learning Center is excellent. We have a front desk which minimizes Students sort of walking by and not checking in or asking questions.
A very modern front desk, I might add. Very high level, come in, you can't not get past us without checking in, kind of. And you want to, I'm sure, keep your numbers. You want to account for who's here.
Absolutely. And also we want to be able to help students, right? It's like, that's a big part of it. When they walk in, they might seem confused or lost. Where am I here? Where am I going? Checking in, we could direct them to the appropriate resource. Often in this space, sometimes they're lost and looking for somewhere else, and we could tell them where to go.
Sure.
So we also have more tutoring tables. Students would often ask for soft seating. Where can I just kind of rest and read or look over my homework? And now we have 8 chairs that they could use for that purpose, and also to meet with their friends. The lab is also much more conducive to our workshops, which have grown considerably. When I took over here, we're running about 12 workshops a semester. Now we're nearly at 100.
That's awesome.
And the workshops we're really proud of the numbers. Really proud of the faculty who teach for us. I teach some workshops in here as well. They're usually about writing. But we have a bunch of growth mindset workshops as well, which are excellent.
So I'm going to date myself here just a little bit, but this reminds me of the old study hall. If you know that concept, when I was in high school, you had a room to go to where you could just study. And this is like the new high-tech study hall called the Learning Center here.
Well, that's really how tutoring should be perceived. And generally, but even when you're not here for tutoring, it's a place to study. We also have a designated program called Study Hall Plus, which is a little bit different than your traditional study hall. 2 hours from 2 to 4 on Tuesdays and Wednesdays, students could come into the Learning Center in this space that we're sitting in right now, by themselves with a group of students, and sit here and study quietly if they want. But if they have a question, they raise their hand, and one of our tutors will come and answer any questions that they have. So it's kind of like on-demand genie tutoring, which we really like. It's the only kind of tutoring that's available now at the University of New Mexico, a program headed by Daniel Sanford, who essentially has the same role there as I do here. And he's seen tremendous success with this approach, so we wanted to try it here.
Very good. It sounds just so cool, so interactive, like you said from the beginning, interactive, not just stale and sterile and and the wood. You kept the wood in the building that was here, so that just makes it warm and friendly, and yet still a little old school at the same time.
Exactly.
You're in hallowed halls. That's how I feel like when I enter the admin building here. Well, are there things that faculty or students need to know who maybe don't know right now, or you wish they knew for sure about the Learning Center?
I think the most important thing is obviously that we're here to help students succeed. That's our primary goal. We hope that more new faculty know about us. I presented all the new faculty orientations. But as you know, we hire new faculty every semester, and we want to constantly inform them about our services. But sometimes there are misunderstandings about what it is we offer and the kinds of services we provide. I guess the main thing I would want faculty to know is that this isn't just a space for students who are struggling in their classes. The Learning Center, it's not just the Salvation Center, it's the Learning Center. It's for all students who want to learn.
Very good.
And the big trend right now in learning centers is to call them success centers. And we actively moved away from that very popular trend because I feel very strongly that success is a byproduct of learning. It's like if you're learning, you will be successful. And that's what we want you to be successful in your class, but our primary goal is to help you learn. And if you're coming in with an A paper and you just want to check it and make sure that it's a little bit better, great. You're struggling in a bio class, come in and we'll sit down with you and one of our bio tutors will help you out. But it's for all students. And I think that it's often very difficult for students to take that first step. And when faculty or staff or even administrators reinforce the idea of tutoring as a last-ditch effort, it kind of runs counter to our mission as an institution or a center that helps all students.
Kind of implies you're failing, and so you need to, like the opposite of success is a failure, so you must be failing before you go here. So we don't want to imply that, no.
Exactly. And that's the real struggle that students have too. They don't want to come in, they want to feel like, oh, man, I don't need help, right? I'm not one of those. And that's, the fastest growing segment of students we have is students in the Scholars Program. They're coming in, they're like, I want to keep my A, so I'm going to come in and talk to a chemistry tutor and keep my A,
Thank you, Shant. That was very interesting. Perhaps now we could hear some testimonials from a tutor and a student.
Sure.
And we'll be right back.
And I work in the Learning Center. I'm a stats tutor and I've been working here for a year and I just love it, especially with the whole new decoration. It's just very exciting to work here. So I actually moved here from Iran 2 years ago, and when I first started GCC last year, I needed some help with my English 101 class and essays. So that's when I got familiar with Learning Center, and since then it was very helpful. And then I decided I liked it so much I wanted to tutor myself. So my stats professor gave me a recommendation, and I've been a tutor here for a year. Actually, since this semester I also work at the desk, and it's just the best job I could ever get. I just love everything about it, especially when students have tests and they come to you, you help them. And then the next week they come back to you and they say, hey, you really helped me and I got an A. And it's just the best feeling in the world. I hope you guys can come here too and get help. It's very helpful.
My name is Tanya and I currently attend Glendale Community College. It's a wonderful experience to come here to the Learning Center. They offer many things like math, English, linguistics, art. And the beautiful thing is that there's many tutors here to help. Tutors that can help you one-on-one. So come and check it out. This place will be as valuable to you as it is to me.
That was great. We could see that the new Learning Center is very valuable to you both. So Shant, what do students have to do to get involved? Either if they want to be a tutor or they want to be tutored.
Well, that's a very good question. I often visit classrooms and tell students about the services we offer in the Learning Center, and invariably someone will ask, how can I be a tutor? Tutors come highly recommended by their instructors.
Student tutors.
Student tutors. Mm-hmm. And then we interview them, hire them, train them, and then have them work with students here. So often you'll see advertisements around campus saying, I'll tutor you for $30 an hour, where that's a paid service and you don't really know the quality of the kind of tutoring or the knowledge base that tutor actually has. Mm-hmm. Whereas here, they come highly recommended by their instructor. So the students feel a lot more confident seeking tutoring, and the tutors also feel more confident about themselves because they have the approval of a recognized expert saying they are qualified to help students in this area.
Great.
So if a student is interested, he or she may contact his or her instructor and say, I'm interested in tutoring this subject. If the instructor deems the student a viable candidate, we'll write a recommendation, form for which is on our website. Mm-hmm. And then if the student meets a minimum GPA requirement and is enrolled at GCC, mm-hmm. She will be invited to an interview where we'll determine if his or her skills and communications skills and whatnot are suitable for tutoring.
Sure. About how many tutors do you have on staff?
About 50. Mm-hmm. The great majority of our tutors are in writing and math. Mm-hmm. Some of our tutors, though, even in those subjects, who tutor in those areas, also tutor in other areas. So one of our writing tutors, for example, also tutors geography. And our math sometimes will double. We have one person who's also stats and math. is thinking of doing chemistry as well. But usually it's, you know, these separate tutors for each area. So we have about 20 tutors in subjects other than math and writing. That includes biology, chemistry, accounting, economics, statistics, Korean, Japanese, Spanish, French, Italian. I mean, you name it. I mean, we got a lot of students say it's like basically every subject. I said not everything. Someone asked me for a golf tutor. I was like, I don't have any golf tutors available. If I did, I'd probably use them myself. I could use some help in my golf game. But
like the athletics department.
Exactly. You're gonna have to go somewhere else for that. And I don't know where we would do the tutoring in this space for golf anyway. But yeah, that's basically what our tutoring program looks like. But to make a tutoring appointment is very easy. You could just walk in and say that you want to see a tutor. If a tutor is available right then, we could serve you immediately. And if not, you can make an appointment. You could also call us, 818-240-1000, extension 5333, and make an appointment.
Very good. Let's make it easy.
Yep.
So earlier you talked about Study Hall Plus, I think.
Yeah.
So can you tell us a little bit about smart thinking and embedded tutoring? These are phrases I'm hearing, but I don't know really what they mean.
It's a good question. As you know, we have a student population who, in previous years and other generations, would be called non-traditional. We have students who work, have family obligations, have other commitments which make it difficult for them to visit the Learning Center at the hours that we're open. And we're open many hours. I mean, Monday through Thursday, 8 to 7:30, Friday from 8 to 2, Saturday we're open from 10 to 1. But if students can't make it during those times, or can't make it to campus during those times, we've partnered with a company called Smart Thinking, which is a member of the Pearson Group. And they provide tutoring, highly qualified tutors that have been trained using CRLA guidelines, the College Reading and Language Association guidelines. And they provide tutoring at hours that sometimes we are available and other times that we're not. It's a great service.
Like in the middle of the night when people just have to do their studying.
Math tutoring is available 24/7. What I tell my students when I visit classrooms all the time is, as an undergraduate at the institution I went to, UCLA, there was a tradition during finals week, midnight, everybody would open their windows in Westwood Village or on campus and scream at the top of their lungs. And I don't know what we'd be screaming if we could just talk to a tutor online at 3 o'clock in the morning when we were in, or midnight, whenever you want. Writing and tutoring is available until 11 o'clock at night. Students are able to submit their writing and get feedback either on the spot, or they can just drop off their essay and get feedback in 24 hours, usually less.
That's great.
And there's other subjects, bio, chem, computers, you name it. There's econ, a variety of other subjects that students could use to Smart Thinking. And so basically gives students a resource. If they can't make it to campus or they can't make it during the hours that we're open, they could visit Smart Thinking, and we've seen increased success with this service, so we're happy that we're able to provide it to students.
I have heard you give a little spiel about that, so yes, I think it's a great thing. It sounds like students are using it. What about the embedded tutoring?
Embedded tutoring, also sometimes called classroom-based tutoring, is essentially tutoring that takes place in the classroom. So instead of having students come to the Learning Center to get tutored here, grant funds, student equity grant funds have made it possible for some instructors on campus to have tutors for their classes. So essentially they'll use the tutor, in the best case scenario, they'll use the tutor as sort of like an assistant in the classroom to help students, particularly in developmental comp classes, but even transfer level courses, meet course objectives, and also be able to prioritize certain subjects and address the needs of specific students as the need arises.
Okay. Sounds, again, awesome.
Yeah.
Many ways to get the learning accomplished around here at GCC. So I've heard some other phrases, absent professor program, the breakfast club, and group tutoring. Can you tell me about some of those things?
Sure. The absent professor program isn't my idea. I stole it from someone at the University of Missouri who has used this for a long time, and it sounded like a really good idea to me. As an instructor, I know that I hate canceling class. And if you're sick, last minute, there's really nothing you can do about it. But there are those instances where you know that in 2 weeks' time you'll be attending a conference or there's some other professional obligation that draws you away from your responsibilities in the classroom. And in those instances, the absent professor program steps in and works with faculty members and says, what would you like your students to learn on the day that you're absent? We have a variety of workshops. As I mentioned before, writing and also growth mindset. We're partnering with the library to offer library workshops through this program as well, so research-oriented programs and workshops.
Seems like a good match.
Yes, so, and you'd think that it was, that because we're primarily, writing or library, that the English division or some other division, but we've seen a lot of use across campus. So biology instructors who are struggling with their students writing good summaries. Hey, I got to leave anyway. Why not have an instructor come and teach our students about summaries and writing an effective summary on the day that I'm absent? Student contact is such an important part of the learning experience and is so integral to the work that we do here. And the days that we have to leave, the thinking is, why leave? Why have students just walk away? Why not maximize that time you know they're free and address a learning objective that's important to you in your class? And maybe have it by someone else. Sometimes if you're biology, maybe having a writing instructor in there who teaches summary on a regular basis, they might be able to address that need better than you may, because that's not your area of expertise. So that's the absent professor program. And
who populates? Are there GCC professors who come in?
Absolutely, yes. We have a group of instructors that we work with who I've met with individually and as groups to ensure that they understand the requirements for each workshop, and that we also talk about teaching strategies and how best to reach each student, particularly in a session like that. Workshops are tricky because, when you have your own class, when I teach my classes, my students know me, they trust me, we've built a relationship, right? But in a workshop, you don't get a chance to do that. And so students often come in kind of cold and there's this new person in the room. And so we talk about strategies to sort of break down some of those barriers and maximize success of a workshop. And I'm really proud of the instructors we have working for us. They all do a really good job. I have a lot of faith in all of them.
Sure.
But you also mentioned 2 other programs.
The Breakfast Club. Now that sounds intriguing. I'm just not a morning person, but the Breakfast Club sounds cool.
It's a really good idea. And again, here I'm going to give credit to Dr. Michael Ritter Brown, who approached me with this idea and said, what if we fed students in the morning and introduced them to the Learning Center? And I said, well, I like that idea. I just don't want French fries or stuff all over the floor here in the Learning Center. But we came up with a plan to provide students on this campus with a free breakfast every morning. And as you know, many of our students are food insecure. This addresses the need of an often overlooked portion of our student population. And sometimes we say, students aren't, why are they falling asleep, or they seem lackadaisical? It may just be that they're hungry and have low blood sugar. So this is going to address that need, but at the same time, they're coming in for breakfast. We're going to have faculty tutors there to work with them, answer any questions they have, help them with their homework while they eat. And we're also going to invite other members of the campus community, counselors from EOPS and the regular counseling department, any other constituent who's interested, programs, clubs, to inform students about, you have a captive audience, they're there to eat, get some tutoring, and learn more about what the campus could offer to help them succeed. And that's really the goal.
And as you mentioned earlier, the engaged student is more successful. This studies show that over and over again. So meet with your counselor if you have not met with your counselor.
Absolutely.
Well, Sean, let's talk a little bit more about you. Tell us about your tutoring philosophy.
That's a really good question. I think that sometimes people perceive tutoring as proofreading or homework completion, Just go get the right answers. And that's not what tutoring is. Tutoring isn't
the Cliff Notes. It's not Cliff Notes.
It's not
right?
Cliff Notes. It's not Cliff Notes. It's not make my essay pretty center.
Okay.
It's not the proofreading center. We're not, as I tell my tutors all the time, we are not a product-oriented service. We're a student-oriented service.
Okay.
So we don't want you to leave here with a good essay. We want you to leave here with the skills necessary to write a good essay. Mm-hmm. So we're going to ask you questions. We're going to get you involved in the learning process. We're going to want you to answer as many questions as you ask. To engage in a conversation and really grow and develop as a student. There's the old saying, you give someone a fish, you feed them for a day. Right? And you teach them how to fish, and then you feed them for a lifetime. That's what we're in the business of teaching people how to fish. Sometimes we'll even get faculty members send their students in here and say, your essay has a lot of grammatical errors. Go fix it, and then bring it back. Mm-hmm. And then we have to tell the student, that's a short-term fix. And I realize that sometimes for students, the short term is very important. Mm-hmm. I need to get this done immediately. And we also, the tutoring session is there to give you some solid feedback on how to make immediate improvements to your essay so that you'll do better immediately. But it's also to engage you in the process so that you're able to write more successfully even when a tutor isn't present.
What are you going to do the next time when you have to write a paper? How are you going to process the thinking and structuring and outlining and I guess all those things?
And how are you in an in-class essay when someone isn't there? How are you going to engage in that process effectively? Our tutors aren't just here to help you learn about writing or math, but they're also giving you study guides, tips, suggestions for improvement, mnemonic devices, teaching you effective study habits and techniques. So it's really a more robust service than just this one thing that we want to help you with.
Fix-it paper, yeah.
Exactly.
That sounds so wonderful. I'm just so happy to learn about all that the Learning Center has to offer. I knew sort of basically what you did, but now I have a much broader understanding about what's going on over here. So, is there anything else that you would like to share with us today? I think we've covered quite a bit.
We have. I think the biggest thing is that everything that is accomplished here isn't done by one person. We really work as a group, as a team, and really are, as much as I respect the staff members and Andy that I work with, who's an excellent colleague, our tutors are the heart and soul of this space, and I really feel privileged to work with them and to give them any support that I can in their efforts to create a positive learning environment for our students, and they do a great job.
Sounds wonderful. Well, Sean, now seems like a good time for you to tell people how to contact the Learning Center.
Thanks for asking, Deb. You could contact the Learning Center primarily through our website, www.glendale.edu/Learning Center. Here you'll find all sorts of information about the services we offer and the kind of tools and support we could provide you. We'd also like to invite you to come to our space. We're located in the AD building, room 232, right up the center steps of the building. Take a look at the space yourself and then maybe make an appointment. Really, the magic here occurs when you actually make a tutoring appointment and meet with someone. I know you'll have a very good experience. And if you need any other information or just have questions, you can contact me at my email address, shants@glendale.edu. That is SHANTS@glendale.edu.
Great. This is just wonderful information. Now, I think we'll close the show today by talking about your open house. What can you tell us about the recent open house that was happening?
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, we were very anxious to let the entire campus know that we had the space completed. For 5 years, I've been talking about the upcoming remodel, but it took a long time and it was a long process, but we did it, and I wanted to share our good fortune and the beautiful new space with the campus community. So I worked with our new staff member, Chris Gonzalez, who really went above and beyond and put in a lot of time to create a great open house event for us. We invited members of the campus community, including Board of Trustees, faculty, staff, and administrators. Welcomed everybody to come see the new space and to talk a little bit about what we offer. We also had an opportunity for them to try out our new whiteboard and look at the new space and play around with the new furniture and the other resources that we have. It was really good for them to actually see and play around with some of the new technology that we have, so they know where they're sending their students. I think that's important.
I attended your open house, and it was great, and of course the food was wonderful. That's what I heard all day long. Oh, I went to the open house and they had such great food. Well, Sean, thank you so much for sharing all your great information about the Learning Center. It's come a long way, and I know I heard even before we had this program that students said, oh, it's bright in here, because it is, and what conducive to learning that can be. So having it bright and happy, I think that's a really good place to be here. So we're all proud of you. Thank you for sticking to it. I know remodeling, there's always drama behind the scenes a little bit. I mean, if you've ever remodeled anything. So thank you again for sharing everything. And we'll close the show today with some clips of the open house, and you'll see that a fun time was had by all.